Hey guys, welcome to this track guide for Summit Point in the Porsche 911 Cup car. A bit of an oddball this circuit, so no doubt a lot of you guys will be seeking some kind of help or advice here. So yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one, as I say. Not awful lot of passing opportunities, very narrow, very bumpy. Um, so hopefully this track guide will be useful for you guys. So first of all, in towards turn one, we're looking at just between the 5 and the 4. Obviously, the 4 cones are what I'm looking at, but as you'll probably begin to notice throughout watching these on a weekly basis, I'll say I'm looking at the 4 and I'm actually braking a little bit earlier. So 4 is the reference, just braking as close to that 4 as you dare, not quite on it, just a little bit before it. So yeah, you can see I'm just beginning to pick up some kind of brake just before we get there. So the 4 cone is your reference, and same as always, slow to threshold, being very aggressive with the amount that you hold, and you see how long I'm holding this. We're past the 1 cone, and I'm still at threshold. I've barely come off the brakes whatsoever. But right as you come towards the apex, it really starts to get bumpy here, and you're going to see as we begin turning the wheel, we're going to start coming off the brake. But the one thing you need to make sure of, especially when trail braking, and this is where a lot of time is gained, is you don't fully come off the brake. So you'll have the threshold through from the start of the 4 cone till after the 1. As soon as you begin to turn in, you're bleeding off the brake, but you're still keeping some amount of brake on. You still want somewhere in the range of 5, 10, 15%, depending on the corner. So over here, it's going to be quite aggressive because it's low speed. We can be a little bit more aggressive with the trail. And you can see how long I'm holding that. I mean, a lot of guys will be tempted to start getting back to power here. They'll think, all right, I've got it slowed. And then they'll accelerate and the thing will just go straight off there, or it'll spin, or you'll induce a bunch of understeer, and as I say, end up on the grass. So just to be patient, drive it in deeper, but trail brake for longer, and that will give you the rotation. So as I was saying, very bumpy on entry here. You can see that big bump right on entry, and then still keeping brake in until we basically hit the apex, and then we're up picking up the power. Now in this car especially, it has a trait to where you can be very aggressive to 40, 50, 60% throttle input. Again, depending on the corner, you can be really aggressive straight up to 50 and then hold it, which you'll see here. We're aggressive up to 50, 60%, and then it's very slow, gradual increase as we go, just managing the bumps. Obviously ensuring that you get a good exit out of here. Just you might have an overtaking opportunity, but you know, obviously there's a lot of time to be gained on the exit of a corner, especially since there's no corner immediately after it. You can carry a good bit of speed up towards turn 2 or turn 3. So in towards here, we're looking at basically where the access road starts. You can see again, I'm already beginning to pick up some kind of brake just before I even get there. It's such a tough corner because again it's so bumpy, and it's also you're having to turn while braking. So as if it wasn't awkward enough, you're having to try and track around. You see how close we're getting to the grass right on entry here, really getting our money's worth out of the track surface there. And the whole end of this corner, it's the car, you're going to kind of struggle to get the front nose in. The corner almost feels negatively cambered, even though it's not. It's just because of the speed that you're carrying into the corner. You know, if you have a car that's set up to really turn, you get more chance of losing it on entry. So the way I've set the car up is just to be nice and balanced. But so into here, you might find yourself fighting the front. Just try being a bit more aggressive on the trail brake. See, we're still braking this late into the corner, and then right before we hit the apex, we're picking up the throttle again, very aggressive, up to 50, 60%, and then being very patient, just letting the car settle, and then being patient afterwards. Now, in previous builds, if you've raced here, you know that people used to cut right across the gravel trap here. On this new tyre model, it's not as quick, so unfortunately, this corner used to be a bit of a gift to where you could send it in on entry and just, you know, you could track out the gravel on the exit without worrying about the off track. Now it's a bit more awkward. Cutting across the gravel, you get a bit of wheel spinning, you'll lose the run. So coming through here, you want to brake just around the start of the access road, a little bit before it, trailing all the way into the corner, feel the nose bite, pick up the throttle to 50, 60%, wait for a little bit, let the car settle, and then smoothly from 60, 70% up to 100, avoiding the gravel on the exit. So down here, you can cut right across this inside here. There's no worries about an off track. And then for me, my brake marker is right around this little patch of grass. It seems to be different in colour to the rest of it, so it's quite easy to pick out. You have your sort of first patch here, then you get your second patch will be the brake marker. So we're in 5th gear here, picking up the brakes and aggressive on turning. It's very easy to miss the turning and then end out here somewhere. So aggressive on the turn-in, keeping it in 5th gear, I think, or down to 4th, sorry, for this this left-hander. So, yeah, we're sort of keeping it in 5th, keeping the speed up. And just brushing the curb on the inside. You don't want to drive right up over the top of it because it could spit you off into this tyre bundle on the outside here. So you can see we just kissing it ever so slightly, not too aggressive. And then you want to come out somewhere in the middle of the track. You can be over here if you want, but you're going to make life hard exiting through here, gaining time through that right kink, but then having to try and get back across while braking and then get the nose turned back in. It's more efficient just to give up a little bit on the entry of this right. Just trailing a little bit more, not quite getting to full throttle either. Just enough throttle to keep the speed up, keep the car rotating, to brake somewhere in the middle. You can be a little bit to the left like I am here, or you can be a little bit to the right, and that will help open up the left, but really the optimal line is right down this dotted white line or just slightly to the left of it. So you see in the braking zone here, very aggressive on the trail brake, very bumpy entry again, similar to turn 1. And here I ran just slightly deep. You can see I'm very aggressive on the trail brakes. I know I've ran slightly deep. Ideally you want to kind of arc it and pull it back, but we actually done an okay job here pulling it back without ending up over here. So we didn't actually maybe lost 200s if we're being super critical. So just to go over that again, you're braking from the middle of the track right on the dotted white line, and then really hooking this concrete, making sure the left-hand wheels are on the inside of this concrete, and then hugging tight. You can sort of diamond this corner just a little bit, so you come out to roughly where I am here, and then as you begin to pick up throttle, you want to kind of pull it back. But as I said, we ran slightly deep, so it was a little bit later on throttle pickup, but we still done an okay job of carrying speed off the corner, so there wasn't really much of a loss here. So into the next right, this is quite a challenging little complex actually. It's very bumpy and one corner leads into the next, so if you mess up one you end up losing time on the next. So just to go through this, these marks here on the left hand side, these are my brake markers for the right. So we're in 2nd gear, just revving it right out in 2nd, don't need to shift into 3rd, just leave it in 2nd. And again, same as the hairpin, make sure your wheels are on the inside of this concrete strip, right up against the inside curb. You don't want to be right up over the top of it, you just want to kiss it, but the optimal line really is just to wrap the white line right round the inside, and again try and exit with your right hand wheels as far to the right of the concrete, even on the inside if you can, which you can see here we're right in the concrete strip. And being aggressive on the throttle, I think we might just get to full throttle here, but because it's a constant radius corner, the car's bouncing, that we don't even get to full throttle. So we're just trying to get out to the outside here to open up this next right, which I believe is still in 3rd gear. Again, just kissing the curb on the right and then exiting somewhere to the right of this dotted white line. So you're opening up the left so that you can attack just over the grass as well. You can see we just clip a little bit of the grass, and you want to exit right out around here somewhere to then open up the right. So you're initially coming into this right to then open up the 2nd right, to then open up the left, to then open up the right. So you can see where, you know, the one corner leads into the next. If you run too deep in this right, you're going to end up, when you run deep here, you're going to end up out here somewhere, then you're too tight in at the left, and then you exit out in the middle of the left, and you can't carry the speed off the right. So it's just all about trying to be patient through this section. Just make sure you hit the line first, and then worry about trying to carry the speed through. Once you get the line down, just start experimenting with more and more throttle input. Just trying to carry more and more speed through there until eventually you end up spinning. Once you spin, that's you found the limit, back it up just ever so slightly. So we're opening up the next left, as I say, keep it just to the right of this dotted white line, and then through here just clipping the grass ever so slightly on the inside. The car doesn't really like it, it's just ever so slightly on the left, just to make sure you exit out somewhere over these kind of, I don't even know what they are, the kind of tire marks coming back on from the grass. So I think we're 3rd to a short shift into 4th through here as well, just to go over the gears. So we're in 3rd, short shift to 4th for the entry, so we can carry a lot of throttle through here, just modulating the full time. And I think we're then a short shift into 5th for the right as well. No, we're just going to carry 4th off. So again here, the curb kind of spikes out awkwardly right on the apex, so you want to try and open up the entry and make sure that when you hit the curb, you are hitting it at this bit, not like here. Because if you hit it here, you're going to end up off in the grass, and obviously there's a forest not nearby, so you'll end up off with the birdies off in the forest out there. So you want to, as I say, open up the right over the tire marks, and then make sure that when you hit that apex, there's a bit of a groove on the inside here that just when you hit that apex, you are in line with that white line. You can see we wrap it quite nicely, just avoiding the sharp spike. And then on the exit, just hanging on for dear life, back to throttle, up to fifth, and the rear just coming around ever so slightly and pretty close to the grass on the outside. So then in towards the final corner, this is a really, really tough one. Not really many braking markers, and especially when you're behind other cars, this is going to be a tough one. So for me, I'm looking at these tire marks here. These are my brake marks. But yeah, once you've got a car filling up this portion of your screen, you're only going to really have this to work with. So you might just be able to see this depending on the line that they take. So if you can join public practices with a teammate or two, or just maybe a mate that you've got, follow them round, have a turn each of getting used to driving in traffic. Because if you can master being able to sit 0.2 off someone in a braking zone without locking an inside front, braking too early, running too deep, the overtakes are going to go right up, and that's what you're going to see at the top level, especially in PESC. A lot of these guys are practicing, we all practice races where we're sitting 0.2 off the back of someone into corners like this, and we're just not phased by it. We know exactly where the brake marker is without actually being able to see it, or we'll find second references, or we'll go off feel, or stuff like that. So it's just being comfortable behind other cars, finding multiple references. So normally I'm looking here, but obviously if I'm behind traffic, I'm gonna have to look somewhere over here. It's practice. It's really the main thing. So into here, braking just slightly before. Kind of actually, as you come over that, it's probably a better brake marker. Once you see these lines, once you come over the top of that line, you brake, and again, right out to the grass. That doesn't need any introduction. But the weird one with the last corner is you actually need to turn in just a little bit earlier than you think. I done it myself quite a lot. I'd be out here trying to turn and get a late apex, and the car you couldn't get the nose in just because of the speed. It's sort of easy to forget that we're still doing upwards of 150 here, so you want to get a nice early apex, get it into the groove. There's a bit of a groove that will pull you around, and as you can see here, we hit it, and it will just pull the car around right next to the curb. You don't want to hit it, you just want to be right up against it, which you can see here, we're literally a millimetre from it, and then being patient with the throttle. Again, as I was saying, the other corner is very aggressive, up to maybe 65–70%, and then just very gentle on the increase on the way out. You can exit right out to the gravel here. There's no off track or anything for this, but obviously if you do hit the gravel, it's hard to get back across. You will lose a bit of time, but you can see we extended right out there and to the line. So that is my guide for Summit Point. Hopefully you guys found this useful. Same as always, any kind of questions about the car, the setup, the track, questions about this video, just ask in the respective car channels in our Discord, and I will be able to get back to you guys quickly and with any kind of tips or advice and stuff like that. So apart from that, best of luck this week. Hopefully this video helped, and we'll see you guys soon.